Welcome, and this is part three of the loaded Wednesday night slate on Sideline Sports. This is Cubfidential, and as you saw in the headline, this is the MLB All-Star Edition. So we will be covering not only the last series of the last half of the season for the Cubs. We got two series to cover, and then also we are going to be covering the All-Star Game, namely the Home Run Derby, the game itself, and then we got an awesome Hot Cup Time Machine, as well as, of course, the all favorite Cub or Dud. First, I just want to remind everybody that if you are watching us on Sideline Sports on YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button for Sideline Sports because it's more than just Confidential. We have Punters Punted, had a hell of a show earlier today. We got the Sideline Sports show. We got the Gauntlet, Basket Bros. We got a new pro wrestling show coming up here in August. Brushing them back with Kobe White. The Rudy Reyes, the Rude Dog Show, you name it, we got it. So please hit that like and subscribe button to Sideline Sports for the latest and greatest content. Shout out to JB Ellis. He'll be back next week. So tonight I'm QB2 once again, as well as the producer. But we're going to go ahead and bring in one of our own here at Sideline Sports, who also is a staunch Yankees fan, and we will be talking about the series versus the Yankees. Come on in, Will Vogel. How's it going, man?
I'm I'm hanging in there. I'm hanging in there.
Hanging in there, yeah. I see. You're a fan of a team that's playing in arguably the toughest division in baseball. At any given time in the first half of the season, all five teams were at 500 or above. So you really got your work cut out for you, especially with the rising of the Miami Marlins all of a sudden. So getting back to the playoffs seems like a pretty daunting task. But want to go ahead and talk about this series right here. The Cubs took 2-3 in the Bronx. Tylon got a much needed shutout winning game one, 3-0. The Yankees did take game two, and then the Cubs took game three. So just your thoughts about that series and your Yankees overall in general.
Yeah, game one. Tyone used to play for us. He got revenge. Horrible game for us. Volpe went 0 for 4. Rizzo went 0 for 3. Stanton went for 0 for 2. Bader went 0 for 3. Donaldson 0 for 3. McKinney 0 for 2. Higashioka 0 for 3. The only bright spots were Gleyber Torres went 1 for 4 and Franchi Cordero went 1 for 3. It was the return to Carlos Rodon. He struggled mightily. He pitched 5 1/3 innings. He gave up 2 runs and he gave up 4 hits.
Mm-hmm.
As for the second game, we won. The Yankees. Stanton had 2 home runs. His first home run was a mammoth shot.
Yes, it was.
It was on the third level.
Mm-hmm.
Triple decker. Then Donaldson, of all people, Josh Johnson, but you'll hear my thoughts on him. Hits a home run. And then Garrett Cole got his 9th win of the year. And you'll hear my thoughts on Cole too. Third game, we lost. If you're Boone, why do you pull Herman after 6? Like, I get it. Your arm gets tired and stuff. But the guy was playing so well. In 6 innings, he had 1 hit and 9 Ks.
Mm-hmm.
I say run the high end, maybe 1 or 2 more innings. But the team didn't play bad. We just made costly errors at the end. Torres went 2 for 5. Rizzo went 1 for 5. Bader went 1 for 5. Donaldson 1 for 3. McKinney 1 for 4. LeMahieu 1 for 4. Volpe 1 for 4. Higashioka 3 for 4. And do you want me to say my thoughts on the team?
Well, yes, of course. A couple things that I wanted to add as far as game three, and that is the Yankees actually held a seventh inning lead, and then Yan Gomez tied the game on a 2-run single, and then Suzuki had a sec fly to go ahead for good. Horner scored on a wild pitch, and then Barnhart with an RBI double to close things out. But going back to game two, actually, Stanton, of course, had his monster game. And then, as well as that, Garrett Cole, he got the win, improved to 9-2, and he actually was the starter for the American League for the All-Star Game. And I know JB's not a fan of Coltrane or anything like that. Your thoughts about Garrett Cole? Do you think he's you guys' ace, or what's going on?
I like him. I like him a lot. He's an ace. Sorry, JB. I know you don't like his attitude, but I like him. You know why? Because he is a good pitcher. And I think he's going to be contending for the Cy Young along with Shohei Ohtani. The only
That's not a
advantage is,
bad look, Will. That's not a bad take right there. Go ahead.
and you know why? Because the only reason I give Ohtani the advantage is because he's doing Babe Ruth things, but even better than Babe Ruth. So I'd give slight edge to Ohtani, but you know what? Ohtani batted the All-Star game, so having Cole start the All-Star game was awesome. But yeah, I like Cole. It goes like Cole, then it goes Nestor, then Herman, Severino. But yeah, Cole is a hard worker, and he puts in the work you can see.
Hmm.
So sorry, JB. I like Cole.
All right, and then I mean, what do you think that the Yankees need to do to get back really into contention to winning that division?
What I think you need to do is you need Judge back. I know the toe is a big issue, but there's other things too. You need another starter. Like, yeah, you got Herman, you got Cortez, you got Cole, but Severino's not the same guy he once was. Um, Rodon's coming off an injury. Frankie Montas is lost for the year. You need a new pitcher. It doesn't
Hmm.
have to be a bona fide start. It can be a fourth starter. It could be an unproven guy. It could be a middle of the pack dude. Also, please get rid of Josh Donaldson. Please. Like at first I was saying IKF too, but IKF's actually playing pretty well. Isaiah Kiner Falefa is a pretty darn good hitter. He's pretty good at fielding. But Donaldson's third base, he's like 35 plus. He's just not the same guy as he once was in Atlanta and Toronto. Trade for him if it could be minor leaguers for all I care.
Hmm.
Um, also, we fired our hitting coach after that Cubs series, and we actually brought former MLB player and former MLB Network announcer and former Aaron Boone teammate Sean Casey, which I love the mayor. The mayor is a great guy. He was a good hitter when he played, so hopefully the bats come alive more. But yeah, I'd say move Donaldson, and you just need a fourth arm in there, and then just try to stay healthy the rest of the year because the team's playing decent without. Of course, we're missing Judge. That's huge, but I think the thing that's I as much as I hate saying this, I think we're a wild card team.
Hmm.
We're a wild card team because look at Baltimore. They got Rushman and all these good young guys coming together, gelling at a good time. You
Hmm.
got Tampa, who's always hot. Toronto's an iffy team, so I think we're a wild card, middle of the pack team.
Okay, yeah, not bad at all. And then, seeing as the Yankees have a knack for signing the big guys, what do you think about them if they were to sign Shohei? So I mean, you have players who run for that bright lights in New York.
I
It's
would
and maybe he can be your fifth in a rotation, like you said.
I would love Shohei, but I don't think he's coming to us. I
Mhm.
actually think Shohei is going to the other side, New York. I think he's going to the
Oh,
Mets.
wow. Okay,
I think it's
interesting.
going to come down between the Dodgers and the Mets because number one, the Dodgers have a lot of appeal. You got Kershaw, you got Bueller, you got Freeman, you got a bunch of other players, Mookie, you got a bunch of others, and they probably could give up the most because they have a lot of money, but they can also give up some because they have a good farm system. If he
Yeah.
were to get traded, if it's the off season, then they have a lot of money. Same with the Mets; they have a lot of money. We know who Steve Cohen is; he has got a lot of money in his wallet. So honestly, I would love a guy like Shohei, but I think he's going to go to either of those two teams.
Okay. All right. And well, before we let you go,
Do you want me
our
to talk about the Derby real quick, or?
I'm good. Well, actually, before you go, it's right here. Our cover dud. So the question is, with a home run derby win plus a runner-up, is Vlad Guerrero Jr. the home run derby GOAT? Keep in mind he won yesterday, and in the 2019 Derby he had 91 home runs, which stands as a home run derby record. Do you think he's the home run derby GOAT? Cover dud.
No, he's
Okay.
not. He's great. He's great. But as you saw, I'm going to go real quick. When he faced Pete Alonso that one time, he was gassed. He literally gets so tired so fast because of how big he is. And he's a bigger dude. He's like a Prince Fielder big dude. A lot of power, but runs out of energy fast. But the real home run derby goat, I think you're going to agree with me on this one. Ken Griffey Jr.
The kid. And why not?
And you know what? The iconic backwards hat. I was hoping J-Rod did an homage to the kid.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah,
hey.
no, it's Ken Griffey Jr. hands down. He's the only 3-time winner. It goes Ken Griffey Jr., Pete Alonso.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's not bad
because
at
they
all.
both have the most. It goes 3, then 2.
Then two. Yep. And then there's one with a runner up, of course. All right. Well, hey man, listen. Thanks a lot for coming on, and let everybody know where they can find you.
Yeah, that's my Instagram right there, guys. WVogs. You guys can find me on Sideline Sports. I'm on Basketball Bros with Denzel, Jacob, Dom occasionally, and Scott Morganroth with George Eichhorn as a guest. You can find me on the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel in the comment section. You can also find me on Smokin' Jeremy B's channel on his Wednesday show for the NFL Roundtable, which is wrapping up next week. I will not be on because I have to work late that night. But in the off season, we will be on his channel doing a weekly pick'em where we pick the NFL games. And you can find me on occasionally Denzel's show along with James Tatum and Dom DeRubis and JJ, the Gauntlet. Every so often, I want to make an appearance. I may make one again soon. Who knows? But you guys know where to find me. You know how to reach me.
All right. Hey, Will, thanks a lot for coming in, man. We'll see you soon.
Yes, sir.
All right, and that was Will Vogel talking about the Cubs-Yankees series, and now we're going to do something that we actually haven't done in a while, and that's have a little round table thing going on here. So what we want to do, we want to bring in, well, first he's on the Let's Talk Sports side. He is the host of the Nick Botkins Show. You can catch that on Let's Talk Sports on YouTube. Nick Botkins, come on in. What's going on, brother?
What's up, my man?
Hey, doing all right? You doing good?
Always. You know me.
All right, absolutely. And in a second, we're going to go ahead and bring in Jacob Christner. And this is interesting for the round table because I wanted to have you two both on the same screen.
Bodkins, what's going on?
What's up, Jake? What's up?
What are you up to? Man,
Hey,
I'll
man.
tell you right now. It's like I caught you on this one with Tyon, and this one and this the whole deal. It's like the thing was, I also think he could lose 5 in a row after this, but it was just Yankee Stadium, and I got that prediction right.
Yeah. Hey, I'll give you that.
And you know what, Jacob, I think you mentioned it before, and that is Tyon just knows how to beat the Yankees. Every now and again, you got a pitcher that has your number.
Well, it's the Yankee Stadium. He knew the stadium. He was 14-5 last year. So
there's an old saying. Sun shines even on a dog's butt. So that's.
And he's got 5 in a row where it's going to be dark.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Most of this, I stand correctly. Yes, he knows that stadium, he knows that crowd and everything, and so it was just funny how you had Nick Botkins take about Tyler. It was like, oh, it's going to be a guaranteed loss, and then he goes and gets the shutout win. So
hey, we'll take it. Maybe I'll just keep dogging him and just keep proving me wrong because if he pitches like that, I'll tip my cap to him eventually.
That was a beautiful pitching performance. Beautiful.
It was. He needs more of it. Well, let's go ahead and move to our a series that got split actually, and probably had a potential for a Cubs sweep. But the Cubs split with the Brewers in Milwaukee. Start off with Nick. Your thoughts about the series? How close did the Cubs really come to taking all the games?
Well, we should have, but our bullpen stinks. How many times did it blow it? I feel like every week I'm on here and saying, if our bullpen would get their act together, we'd have a chance. But that's the problem. It doesn't get together. me and Jacob talked about it on the show Monday when he had me on his, and Michael Fulmer's awful. I mean, the whole bullpen is awful, and it's going to cost us, and it could cost us a chance to win a real weak division here. Because if we swept them, let's imagine if we sweep them, we're what are we? I mean, we're right there at the
about 4.5 out.
Yeah, that's real attainable. You're feeling real good, Instead, we're about 7 out. So,
yeah. And Jacob, your thoughts about this one?
Well, I wish they would have swept all 4, but that was one hell of a series. Every pitch, every little. See, do you want to know where these games come from when you see this type of 4 game? This is called a World Series. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about a playoff. These are the type of games that you get playoffs. This is where you want. Mind you, do I think the Cubs do anything in the playoffs this year? No. The NL is just powerful, and the Braves are just way too tough. Yeah. But they're just way too tough. But this is what I'm saying. This is what you get for the future. You learn how to win those games. And stuff like that. It was and I'm talking about this is both teams, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it's like, that's a playoff run. That's a playoff run if they can continue to learn. But the Cubs got to learn to win to be able to get those right. But here's the thing. That was before the All-Star break. That was a 4-3 record. So you gained another. So, I mean, you wish you had all 4, and then you would have 2 out of 3 with the Yankees. So you wish. But that was a heck of a series.
It was.
Yeah,
oh, go ahead, Nick.
You look at it. I mean, the last game, the Thursday game, right? We're winning. We blow the lead in the 8th. So that's the loss. I mean, we battled back in the 9th in the Wednesday game in Game 3. So it's like, hey, man, like our offense was alive. Like that's the offense you want to continue to see, right? And then you look at Tuesday game. Guess what? We battled back to win that one. We win that one 7-6 in a 1-run game, and and then you look at the other game. They score 5 runs, and we lose in the 7th and 8th, and we lose 6-8. Like that's what I mean. Like if we just had a bona fide setup and closer guy that could just go out and get you 3 outs, we sweep them.
Mm-hmm. Well,
yeah, we scored enough runs in each game to win, but the bullpen and really even the starters didn't pitch. We didn't have the greatest pitching performances, but and then we'll come out this All-Star break and our pitching will be well, or at least our starters will, and then we won't be able to hit. That's just kind of how it's been. I feel like for the Cubs.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Well, we're gonna go, and that was the Yankee series. Actually, was the last one that closed out the first half of the season for the Cubs. But of course, this is the MLB All-Star edition. So first, we're gonna go ahead and talk about the Home Run Derby. Vlad Guerrero Jr. wins the 2023 MLB Home Run Derby, avenges 2019 loss, had 25 home runs in the final round, joins his father, Vlad Guerrero Sr., as the first father-son duo in history to win it. Nick, your thoughts?
I mean, the Home Run Derby is always cool. I don't really take a whole lot from. And then have his dad won it seems like, man, just seems yesterday, right? Like his dad winning it, but it was, like 13 years ago or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's a nice story. I don't get all hyped up into the Home Run Derby anymore or things like that. I do like the new format. It's cool. It's a nice story. I think if you would have told me that Vlad Jr. and Vlad Sr. are going to be the first pair, I probably would have believed that.
Okay, yeah, that right there, absolutely. It's really great to see like the heavy hitters come out. You've seen some repeat contestants, as of late, and all. I thought it was a fun outing. Jacob, your thoughts on this one?
Well, one of the things that I would have thought of is it's like considering that he had 91 home runs lost one year, what I'm saying, in 19. One of the things that I would love is a couple less hitters, maybe 6, and no rounds, and then you see how many. Because what if you have someone that's the very bottom, dead last, and they come alive? Keep going up the leaderboard, keep going up all the way through, and then and everything like that. And then you've got this, like, what if you have that? It's like that could probably bring, even though that would probably bring some excitement. It's like coming out completely out of the blue because they keep you from that stupid 91 and losing. And that's just because of that's because of the little tournament deal that they do. But overall, like I said this last week, though, I think if it gets to a point you get this much money coming and you get these type of players coming, they're already talking about Skeens possibly being a two-way. Remember, Shohei started that. They're talking about Skeens possibly being two-way. You start seeing things like this, then you're not gonna see many stars go into the home run derbies anymore, just because it's gonna be like the
slam dunk contest.
Yeah, pretty much.
Dunk contest where nobody wants to get themselves hurt and it's not worth it. And so again, and we're going to start seeing we're going to start seeing the people we don't know get into these things probably the next 4 or 5 years, just because we've seen people turn their back on it already, even though stars are still playing.
Yeah, but you know what? Even still, it'd be if we see nothing but youngsters from here on out, it's still a good way for them to get their name out there before they really get their names known for being on the field, at least for some of them. And this is a good way to transition into the next topic, and that is the game itself. So, for the first time in 11 seasons, the National League defeats the American League 3-2. Elias Diaz of the Colorado Rockies named All-Star Game MVP. He had a go-ahead 2-run home run in the 8th inning. It's one of those home runs where it's like he knew just as soon as it left the bat. And actually, it was crazy because in the bottom of the 9th, Ramirez struck out with 2 runners on, and they thought it was going to be this. Say again?
Yeah. I was saying our old friend Craig Kimbrell, y'all
remember him, right? Craig Kimbrell? Yeah.
Our old friend.
Let's get him back.
Yeah, we could use him. We could use him.
They actually thought it was going to be like a storybook kind of ending to the game, and Julio Rodriguez was going to hit the walk-off homer, the tying run or something like that. He actually ended up walking, and then Kimbrell throws a strikeout on the next batter. So I want to swing it over to Nick. Your thoughts about this game overall?
To me, the baseball All-Star Game is the best of like all the All-Star games, right? It's 1,001 times better than the Pro Bowl. It's 1,000 times better than the NBA All-Star Game because baseball is the only thing you can't fake, right? Like you can't fake striking it out. You can't striking out a guy. And if you're up the plate, guess what? You still can't. You still got to swing, and you still got to put the ball in play, and you still got to go get out. So you just can't go through the motions in baseball as they do in the NBA and they do in the Pro Bowl. And now it's not even. It's like flag football, so it's definitely not even that. So baseball, I enjoy it's probably one of the. So it's one of the few All-Star games I really enjoy. I'd like to see them get back to wearing their own jerseys and things like that. Okay. Justin Steele had a nice 1, 2, 3 inning. That was nice to see the Cubs Cub guy, and then obviously Craig Kimbrell, former Cub, our old friend there, got the final out. Good for the National League, right? And I'm glad they got rid of the several years ago they got rid of the who wins this game gets home field
advantage for the World Series.
We don't need that. Just let the boys have fun. It was a lot of fun, and it's good. It's a good spotlight for a lot of these younger guys that we don't see, guys who are playing on the A's and things like that we don't really know. Let them get their shine on national TV because, outside of regional markets, that they're not very national known. So some of those guys that are playing, and we get to see those guys on a national stage. So it's a lot of fun watching the All-Star Game.
Yes, absolutely. Especially when the first half inning of the game, in fact, the first 2 pop-up hits were deep hits to the outfield.
Yeah.
And you had back-to-back spectacular catches. That's how I knew it was going to be a game.
Yeah.
And so as close as it was, and then you got the go-ahead run in the 8th inning, I was like, yeah, this was a really I can't put it up there as like, the best or one of the greatest, but it was a really good game. It was great, But I'm going to swing it over to Jacob and your thoughts overall about this game.
I'll tell you this. Let's go back to the home run derby. Let's go to this one. I mean, you have Vlad Jr. Being like Vlad, and they have that story of he just took what his dad did. You know what I'm saying? And he just picked up where he left off. A story. You have Shohei in Seattle, so they can be able to get to that thing. They have that right then and there. You want to know what's in common and why they destroyed the NBA on this thing? No politics, none. You know what they're doing? They are doing the storylines about who wants to win and who goes to other teams and who wants to about the money. But it's allowing sports fans to talk sports.
There we go.
Novel concept. and this is the truth to that. It's like NFL's pretty good at it too. I mean, even though they'll have their own little thing, they'll do their little plays outside like the Super Bowl, and then they don't do a whole bunch. Remember, they do military times, they get that, but they're mostly the ball game. But it's like, but NHL had to deal with the whole thing this year. Guess what? MLB, not at all, none. And you want to know we're seeing a better type of game. We're also seeing stolen bases. We're seeing moving the players. We're seeing all that. And that is novel concept. Fans get to talk about sports. Done. And that's what the whole deal is. And that's why this was so good. And guess what? The big thing about it is the NL beat the AL first time in however long, 11 years. And you get to this thing, and now by itself, it is the one All-Star game that people play hard. Yep. And so it's going to help itself, you know?
Like I said, you can't fake. You can't go through the motions in baseball. You know, like you can't.
No.
And we had the Vlad thing. You had the Shohei, and how about even the A's? Don't sell the team. Like that chant was going. So, kudos to the crowd, right? Like I think the crowd always makes any sporting event. When the crowd is great, it makes it feel important, right? So, and we see that throughout different sports. Is the better the crowd, the better the environment. So, and that crowd was pretty live last night.
Savannah Bananas can fake it, but it's like the major leagues can't.
Yeah, they can. Well, on to our last topic here, and that is our throwback topic. Hot Cub time machine. So this is a bit of a throwback as far as Cubs performances in All-Star games. 1967 Major League Baseball All-Star game. Cubs pitcher Fergie Jenkins with a 6 strikeout performance. Nick, take it away.
What were you, about 10 years old, Nick?
I wasn't even screwing around in my daddy's you know what at that point in time. So here's a quick story though. First baseball game I ever get taken to, 1995, I think it was 96, I think actually. Cubs Pirates. Go down. I get a Cubs hat. I walk down. I see this guy standing there. I ask him for his autograph. Signs it. Come to find out, I get old enough. I realize the guy who signed that hat is none other than Fergie Jenkins when he was the pitching coach for the Cubs at that time. So I had a Fergie Jenkins autograph. Didn't realize who Fergie was at the young age of 9 years old. But great story. I mean, Fergie, we all know, is an all-time Cub, probably the greatest Cub pitcher of all time. Unfortunately, too old enough. I'm not old enough to ever watch him. Now, Jacob on the other side, I think he was 30 at 60.
Not cool. Yeah, right.
So he probably remembers that performance very vividly.
Oh, yeah, totally. So. No, not quite. But I will give you this little piece of trivia. I missed him by a year.
Yeah.
I missed him by a year. My memory goes to 84. He left in 83. I missed him by a year. So I can now say I missed somebody who's about to turn 80 by 1 year.
Yeah.
So that tells you how far back my memory can go. And it's like you get to that thing, and it's like I remember the final. I missed Fergie Jenkins by a year. I caught the last year of Kenny Stabler in New Orleans. Caught the last year of that, and it's like we can go, and I can go with all the. And I missed Alan Page by 2 years. So it's like this is telling you. I was 6 years old. And I still absorbed it. So that tells you something. But think about Fergie Jenkins. You got to remember, this is 6 20-win seasons in a row. This was a stud. And you got to think about this. This was a loyalty year because there ain't no way he'd be playing, even doing 6 straight in Chicago like that in the era of free agency.
True.
There's no way. I mean, those were some horrible teams. I mean, and the same with Steve Carlton. Steve Carlton once had 27 wins for a 59-win team. So,
Ouch.
I mean, that's telling you that this is the era of the owner owns you. Then they wonder why the players own the owners now. Guess what? We're getting our revenge. But no, Fergie Jenkins was awesome. He really was. And it's one of those things where you wish you were just around for that time and you wish he was on winning teams because he got basically one winning team, 69, and even then they blew it.
Yeah. They made the postseason, and then they lost to the eventual Major League. Wait, you said 69?
69, they didn't even make the playoffs. So the Black Cat.
They didn't make it.
Yeah, they didn't make the playoffs. Yeah, they
Black Cat with Ron Sano. That was the bewitching of the Cubs at that point.
Yeah, by the way, Cubs meant completely useless by September for years.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah. Well, and then one more thing here, and that is our, of course, cover dud. And that is with the home run derby win plus a runner-up, and considering the volume of home runs he hit between the two. Is Vlad Guerrero Jr. the home run derby GOAT? Nick, talk to me.
Nah, I mean, Buddy said it before. I mean, it's Junior, right? I mean, it's the backwards hat. It's the sweetest swing in baseball. I mean, you can't tell me that you don't have the sweetest swing in baseball history. Is Ken Griffey Jr. 3-time winner, back-to-back. I mean, he did it till he just was bored with it. So, and he did it during the steroid era too. And when a guy who wasn't even accused of using steroids. So let's kudos to one Mr. Junior, the kid.
Yep.
And crazy about the steroid thing is he probably would have stayed healthy if he did the roids.
Yeah,
because the whole point of it was his hamstrings went bad. He didn't have any. He couldn't recover the same as the Bonds could. Because the whole thing about steroids is recovery. It's not the needle and just building muscle. It's the recovery. He didn't have the same recovery time.
Yep.
So he probably would have. Truthfully, he probably would have hit 850 homers.
He would have been the all-time home run king. I mean, if injuries just doesn't derail him, he goes down as the all-time home run king, the fastest player to ever hit 400 home runs, and then fastest
and second fastest 5.
Yeah, I mean,
you talk about a dude. If there's anybody in history who was deserving of a World Series ring or even make the World Series, it's Ken Griffey Jr. And I've always thought him going to the Reds ruined him.
The injuries, yeah,
and the injuries too. But think about it like this. He could be injured on a really good Mariners team, okay? He went to the Reds. They weren't squat.
That was because of Dad.
I gotta get that.
That's Dad. I mean, the Griffey Jr. That
was on the South Side. He got ended his career. He was on the South Side for like a year and a half when they were trying to make the playoffs, and then obviously ended back in Seattle too. So,
yeah.
And he got that standing ovation. They hit like 212, no, something like that. But no, it is Ken Griffey Jr. But it is hard for me to say a greatest of all time outside of that party because you're never going to see 3 home run. You're never going to see 3-time home run hitter ever again. Never ever, because they're going to leave after a year when they become stars. They're not going to try it all that many years.
Pete Alonso was trying to go for 3 times this year.
Yeah, but that's going to be the last. That is absolutely the last. Because the players are going to start. The players will really become business. But it's like, and then another thing is the fact that the things are going to switch. The rules are going to switch so much to be able to get to that thing. Somebody's going to hit 100 homers. Someone's going to do all that kind of thing. So if we're going by stats, we're going to see an all-time great already, like over and over, year after year. So you just got to go with the 3-time winner and the one that's never going to be broken.
Yeah, pretty much. And keep in mind, last year when Aaron Judge was chasing Maris for the AL home run record, the last guy to do that and get close was Ken Griffey Jr. back in the 90s.
That Maris situation, though, I'm bringing this up with Maris. He had 253 career homers. That 1 year was a quarter of his career. And and that's one of those things. It's like he had those, and it really just stressed his whole self out. He was never the same after that. It just shows you what Sammy Sosa did. He 360 home run years.
Yep.
And it's like one darn near killed Maris, and it probably killed him because he died at 52 years old.
Yeah, all the cigarettes and everything. You know what I mean? Like he was chain smoking during that, that time too, and it helps when you're batting in front of Mickey Mantle or vice versa. Like that'll help you out too. Like,
can you imagine being a fan in that stands and you're watching Maris and Mantle, and they're both 54 and 62 home runs and 1, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
But it's like, but I'm saying though, that's the thing. It just makes you like, even if you're steroids or whatever, just think like, just think with McGuire, Bonds, Sosa, all of them. It's not just the steroid. It's like, you think about the 162 games. You did it 3 times, 2 times. You did all that stuff. Maris did it, and it pretty much killed him. 1 time, and it killed him. It was a quarter of his career.
Mm-hmm.
And that says it. And it's like, I have no issue with Roger Maris Jr. He can say what he wants to be able to say with it, but these are athletes, regardless of the steroids or not. It's like, I'm not saying Roger wasn't, but it's such a different.
I think they just got burnt by McGuire, right? Like when McGuire broke the record and they were there and they had the bat and all this, and then, hindsight, McGuire's roided up. My dad, you know what I mean? So I think he is a little burnt from that,
Well, yeah, but it's like, but the thing about it is the fact that he's playing this as a storyline over, it's steroids. Like, you can just shoot up and automatically hit home runs.
Yeah,
You get maybe 10 more feet from doing steroids in the first place. In the end, you still strike out in the end. I mean, you got to remember the hitters just got better.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I'm just saying, like, I think that's where his bitterness comes from.
Yeah, he's got to have and that's why I keep telling everybody, at the end of the day, you have to have an eye to hit the baseball, and that's just basic. Like having an eye to hit the baseball, and we've said this about Bonds. You know what I mean? He's had an eye to hit the ball. You know who else had an eye to hit the ball? Tony Gwynn. Jacob, how many times in his career has he struck out?
Like 430 and
in 17 seasons.
17 seasons, and it's like 430. And they said between Glavine, Maddox, you got Smoltz, he had 320 at bats, 3 strikeouts.
I think there was somebody else in there too. I can't remember who it was, but yeah, I've seen that stat, and there was somebody else in there too. It was Glavine, Smoltz, Maddox, and I can't remember. I want to say
probably Avery.
Randy Johnson or somebody, I think. I can't remember. It was somebody where you're like, holy smokes, this guy killed the best pitchers in all of baseball all time.
Well, he had a 314 career average against Maddox, and everybody else was like 140.
Yeah.
It's like, but that's the thing though. That's the big thing about it is like, I'm sorry. I am not going to give Roger Maris Jr. his thing. I know he felt burnt and stuff like that, but you take a look at the muscles on the McGuire, you kind of get an idea. You kind of got to get an idea. You can't just use emotions here. It's like in the end, you got to remember that Jeremy Giambi took steroids too, and he didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well,
go ahead.
The thing about Bonds, I'm not going to say so much McGuire, but Bonds especially, he would have been a Hall of Fame player without the steroids. Like we're talking a guy who was a 40-40 guy, 30-30. You know what I mean? He was hitting 40 home runs, stealing 40 stolen bases. He would have been the best player in baseball, but because he was watching McGuire and them guys get all the plug, and all the publicity, that's when he started using, was after them.
I think the biggest thing, where Maris's burnout is, I think he's burned because his dad died so early and it killed him. And his dad could not handle pressure. And I think he was just so mad. Part of that anger is the fact that it pretty much killed his dad. And he never got him. His dad was only 52 or something like that when he passed, 53 or something. And he didn't get any of that chance with him. He didn't be able to, because the guy would have been in his 80s when they do it. You know what I'm saying? He would have been in his 80s, and he would have been there too if he'd been alive. And he could have seen that whole thing. But it's like, these are guys that no matter what we say right now, they're still healthy. They're healthy individuals in life. And so, yeah, I think he feels gypped. I think Maris Jr. feels gypped. He doesn't have his father. Yep. So he's going to use that memory and keep saying he's the all-time leader. It's like, whatever.
Yep. Well, we're at about the 39-minute mark. We do have to end the show. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to Cubfidential. And, Nick, let everybody know where we can find you.
Yeah, I'll be back on air tomorrow for the Let's Talk Sports show. You can catch that on the Let's Talk Sports Network or the Podkin show on YouTube. We'll start that at 8 o'clock Central Time Zone. We'll be talking a little fantasy football tomorrow and a little bit of this Northwestern business and a little bit of this, a little bit of that tomorrow. So please tune in at 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern.
All right. And Jacob.
Oh, I think everything but the Appalachian Trail. But let's see. But the Sunday nights Basket Bros, Monday nights until the end of July into August was Pundit Views, and we have our new show. Wednesday nights, 3 shows here, Pundits. Let's see, the Sports Exchange and then Cubfidential. Going to start Thursday night again eventually with the Yin and Yang. We'll put you as the first guest, Denzel.
All right.
It's off Sideline, but we're doing it. And then every once in a blue moon, you ask me on Gauntlet. When I have a chance, I'll do it. And when I have a shot, I appreciate you doing that, by the way. And then I am on Jake the Pundit on Twitter and Jake the Pundit 1 on TikTok.
All right. And I'd like to thank everybody once again for tuning in to Cubfidential, and we will see you next week. For Jacob and Nick, I'm Denzel Snipes. Later. You all have a good night.